Before we get started, I want to assure you there's a reason I am wearing this suit in this game. So we are in the Heist DLC. I'm basically just going to swing around while I talk because I tend to get really distracted if I'm doing story missions and trying to express points. It's just a modern curse, you know, you're just so easily distracted. Regardless, this what I'm going to be talking about now is going to be about men who are abused in relationships by their partners. Now, the reason I'm talking about this, the reason it came up was, I don't know if you've heard this, but I'm sure most of you recall a couple years ago that Johnny Depp, his girlfriend, Amber Heard, or wife, I actually don't know what their actual relationship is, never follow that sort of thing, but she accused him of being physically abusive, and as a result, he lost a lot of acting jobs. He lost his role in 2 major franchises I can think of, and who knows how many smaller movies. It was pretty much a big deal. It was a very big deal. So, it's just come out within the last few days of me making this video that that perhaps the relationship actually wasn't him doing bad stuff, but it was actually she was the abusive one in the relationship. There's about an hour's worth of audio recordings of between him and her, and with her being very aggressive and abusive. They're actually quite hard to listen to, at least for me. I've worked in the mental health field. I've worked with abused people. It's hard for me to listen to. She's belittles him, calls him like a baby, and so on. When he informs her that she punched him, she says, "No, that wasn't a punch. It was a hit." You know, he's talking about her punching him in the face and stuff like that. And it's very demeaning. Now, apparently there's some sort of divorce or lawsuit going on. Like I said, I don't pay attention to this sort of thing. I find it actually kind of boring celebrity stuff, but this is, I think, fairly important. But he's listed that she's cost him quite a bit of money in lost roles and lost opportunities. And now I imagine in most cases of abuse, when it comes up to money, it isn't so much about the money as it is about the reputation, about the dignity. Basically, Johnny Depp, before the accusations, was one of the most popular actors, I would dare say, in the world. I actually got sick of seeing him in movies. He was just in so many movies. He just, oh look, it's Johnny Depp again. Ugh, you know, that sort of thing. It felt like he was in too many movies. He was, you know, too big of an actor, basically. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, he's lost all that. So I imagine wanting to get his reputation back, getting the dignity of, you know, of who he used to be, of where he was at before, is much more important than any sort of money, anything like that. That's usually the case in abuse. And this does highlight a problem. I mean, you think, of all people, Johnny Depp, rich, well-known, popular, that he wouldn't be stuck in a bad relationship. He wouldn't have that problem. And the truth of it is it can hit anybody, it can affect anybody. Can be in a physically bad relationship, and the sad truth is now that men who are in these sort of physically abusive relationships, or even just any sort of abusive relationship, they aren't heard. People don't talk to them. People, you know, don't respect them. If they say, "Hey, I've been abused," they tend to be laughed at or made fun of. On Twitter, I see this all the time. Just whenever when a male expresses any sort of emotions online, they there's always somebody calling them an incel, saying, oh, just your feelings don't matter, you don't matter. So, it can, for men, feel like they are trapped, that they can't have no recourse, they can't go anywhere, they can't do anything, and really, they're supposed to be the men in the relationships, and how can they come out and say, I was abused, I was, physically assaulted, I was, I went through all this humiliating stuff. It's a lot harder for men because, in society, men are expected to be the strong, tough ones. Not only that, but with the current society, they are almost always portrayed as the perpetrators of crimes, and women almost always are seen as their hapless victims, regardless of situation. Now, we saw essentially just the accusation was enough to pretty much destroy Johnny Depp's career. Just the accusation. And it becomes a lot harder in today's society for men to just get the help they need. When they need help, when they try to escape or get out of these situations, it's incredibly difficult for them to do that, just simply because of that. It's hard for them to admit they have a problem. But it's also, we're in a society where it's not really accepted that men can be abused, that men can be in a physically abusive relationship. Or, not even just physically abusive, any sort of abuse, emotional or sexual or whatever sort of abuse that men are being subjected to. It's generally not accepted that, oh, they're the ones who are the victims. And really, all an abuser, if a woman is being abusive, all she has to do is blame the man, and she will be believed, and the man probably will not be believed. And it's a sad commentary on today's society, but it's also, men are trapped. And I think, I want to try to do what I can to help men out. So, first off, there are shelters for victims of abuse. The vast majority of them are specifically for women. Oftentimes, women who have been abused just, don't want any men around, period. So, it's generally staffed by women. Generally, they only accept women and children who have been abused. They don't accept other people. Now, in a few places, I think, from what I understand, I've talked to a few people about this, but there are some safe shelters that have been set up that have locations where specifically for men who have been in abusive relationships, but this is not always the case. And so, I talked to a really good social worker of my acquaintance about this, and she told me, and I'd never really considered this as an option before, but that there is a recourse, an option for men who have been in this situation, and that would be homeless shelters. And it never occurred to me that might be an option, but, once I started to think about it, I suddenly realized, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Homeless shelters are for people, men and women, who don't have a home to go to. Well, if you're in an abusive relationship and for your own safety you've fled, but you have no safe place to go, then yes, you are essentially homeless. And homeless shelters are there to help you, and I imagine many of them have counselors, people who can help you, get out of an abusive relationship if you're in it, and get the help you need. And I think a homeless shelter should be a viable option. If you are a man, you are in an abusive relationship, and you don't know where to go or how to get out of it, a homeless shelter might be a good starting point. They have resources to help homeless people, and probably have resources that can help you, out of abusive relationships and stuff like that. They're there to help you. I know a lot of people, especially if you're doing well off, even if you're in an abusive relationship, but you're, pretty well off, are hesitant to go to a homeless shelter because they don't want to take resources away from people who might need them. But honestly, if you're in an abusive relationship and you fear for your safety, you need those resources as much as anybody else. And yeah, that should be a good option for you to go. And just to try and escape just a horrible situation. So I'm putting that out there, just information to help you if you're in an abusive relationship. You know, and actually, this isn't just about men or women or really anybody. Just there are places out there that can help you. If there's not a shelter that will accept you because you're male or for whatever reason, you can go to a homeless shelter. It's okay. Just get the help you need. That's pretty much the message of this video. Is just go out there, find people who can help you, get you out of the situation. I know it's difficult to admit that you have this problem and you're in this situation, but you know what? You deserve the help. And quite frankly, you deserve somebody who will, you know, love you for who you are and respect you for who you are. Now, I chose the Heist DLC as a location for this, to give this information out and to talk about it, because pretty much, if you're familiar with the comic books, and specifically the character of Black Cat, who is the feature character of this DLC, you will recognize or realize, probably, there are two ways that writers have written Black Cat. The first is where she's a pretty good character. The second is where she's pretty much just the worst girlfriend you ever had. She is psychologically, emotionally abusive towards Spider-Man, and that's the Black Cat that is in this video. Spider-Man himself is essentially a victim of her abuse. Spoilers for this DLC, but in it, she emotionally manipulates him. In the normal game, she actually, you know, says to him, "Hey, if you catch me before I steal all this stuff, I might go straight," which is pure emotional manipulation. She in this one, she says she has had a kid, and she hints that it is Spider-Man's kid that she's had. And of course, she never actually had a kid. It's pure emotional manipulation on her part. And, you know, this suit was picked, even though it's kind of it was meant to be a joke in the game. It is a funny type of suit. I picked it because this is what happens to you when you're abused. You're, you know, as a man, you're emasculated. As, you know, a woman, you're humiliated. Yeah, I actually don't know what the word for emasculation would be for a woman. I apologize for that. But yes, you are humiliated. You feel bare before the world, just naked, that you don't have any protection, any clothing, any layers to help you and protect you and make you feel safe. And whoever you are, if you're in an abusive situation, regardless of really any other factor, you're just in an abusive situation, you do deserve to be loved. It is okay to go get the help you need from whatever source you can. It's okay, and you totally deserve it. You don't have to be like Spider-Man is right now, without his suit, without his normal clothing. And in fact, you know what? I am just going to put on his normal suit and get back. You can become like this. You don't have to be in that situation, and admitting you need help, there's no weakness there, and getting the help you need, you deserve it. And that's just the message of the video. That's all, and just good luck.